Hey, folks, good morning and welcome to another episode of Steelers Morning Rush. I'm Alan Saunders. It is Wednesday, November 5th. The Pittsburgh Steelers had their first practice of Week 10 today at UPMC Rooney Sports Complex. I'll be there along with Ed Thompson. More stuff coming out of practice today on Afternoon Drive with me and Zachary Smith here on your YouTube channel and in your audio streams at about 6 o'clock. Today, I want to talk about the fallout from the trade deadline, which is the Pittsburgh Steelers will have 12 picks in the 2026 NFL Draft. And the question that was posed to me is, what are the Steelers planning to do with them all? The implication that, of course, did not use a selection to trade for depth or a receiver or whatever. And to be clear, the Steelers do need both depth and receivers. Just did not find a deal that was to their liking on Tuesday, as there were relatively few out there in the NFL that I thought were made for a good price. Okay, so I mean, I feel like I've answered this question a lot, but we'll answer it again here because it's timely. They're going to trade up for a quarterback, and I know that maybe if you don't pay close attention to the NFL draft and college football, that a lot of people have said, well, the 2026 quarterback class didn't pan out or isn't what it was once thought to be, and that's just not true. Now, some of the players that are in the 2026 quarterback class have not panned out the way we thought, and that is expected. That's typical. Many of the top prospects entering a college football season will not be the top prospects leaving, but they had many top prospects entering, and they still do. There are still 5 players in the top 30 of the NFL Mock Draft Database Consensus Top 100 right now. Those 5 players are Francisco Mendoza from Indiana, Dante Moore from Oregon, Lenore Sellers from South Carolina, Ty Simpson from Alabama, and Garrett Nussmeier from LSU. There are also a few more just hovering sort of just outside that certainly with a good run here at the end of the year or really good Senior Bowl or really good testing, could these rankings will move a lot between now and the draft. But guys like Jaden Maivia, John Mateer, Cade Klubnik, Carson Beck, Brandon Sorsby are all just sort of right there in that next tier down, and it wouldn't be crazy to see a player go from where they are right now to the first round by April. So a long way to go, but still looks like an above average depth-wise quarterback class. I'm not sure it is a quarterback class that we're going to sing songs about of like 2005 or 1983, where you would just have all these Hall of Famers drafted one right after the other. But I do think it has a real significant depth of first-round talent. You don't get 5 guys in the top 15, top 16 very often, and that's what you have right now. We'll see where things go. But assuming that it stays roughly the way it is, where you have 5 to 6 guys in the first round, 4 or 5 of them in the top 15, the Steelers will have no problem trading from wherever they're picking to that range to get one of those quarterbacks. And that is why the Steelers targeted the 2026 draft as a draft they wanted to look at quarterback. It is unusually deep at the quarterback position. We have seen years, remember the Kenny Pickett year in 2022, where the first quarterback overall gets taken down at 20. Like that's not what's going to happen here. If you're picking at 20, you're going to get the 5th, 6th guy, maybe 7th guy. And so they're going to be picking below 20. Obviously, the Steelers look to be winning the AFC North and going to be a playoff team. So they'll be down in the mid-20s. They're going to have to trade up. They're going to trade up significantly. They have 12 picks. Will they be able to use all 12 of those picks to trade up? No, but most of them they will be able to. They will be able to they have a 2nd round pick. They have 3 3rd round picks. And so, if you take a look at where they are and where they want to go, and you just plug in the Rich Hill model is the one that is based on trades. Not all of those draft charts are built for the same thing, but if you find it at drafttech.com, the Rich Hill model is based on trades. So let's say the Steelers end up picking 25th and they feel like they need to get to 10th. That is from 369 to 230. So 139 points of draft capital is what they need. Well, if they're picking 25th, then their 2nd round and 3rd round picks will be in the same spot. That's 96 and 45. Right there, that makes up the difference. Now, sometimes you have to pay more. Sometimes you have to pay less. This is an average, but it depends on the market. Who wants to trade, who doesn't want to trade, who's available, who isn't available. But even if you have to pay a premium, even if you have to add a future second, even if you had to add a second or a third one of those third round picks, even if you have to trade away, and maybe the other team wants a different package. Maybe the other team wants the 2027 first, but isn't interested in all those day 2 picks this year. Okay, fine, whatever. But that's more than enough capital to get from where they're going to be to where they're going to want to go to get a quarterback. And also still have a draft class. Like, this isn't a Ricky Williams situation where they're going to trade their entire draft class for one player. They still need to have a draft class. They still have a lot of other needs besides quarterback. They need a wide receiver. They need a corner. They're going to need a guard at some point. I mean, maybe Spencer Anderson is that guy. Maybe not. Either way, they probably ought to be drafting one. They probably still need another defensive lineman down the road. This team has needs. So they want to have a draft class, so you need all those picks. Now, your draft class is going to be one quarterback and then a bunch of day 3 picks, but that makes the day 3 picks to the Steelers, who know they're not going to have that many draft picks. Let's say they just trade the second and the 3/3 to move up. Okay, well, now their draft class is 2/4, a 5th, 2/6, 3/7, something like that. Yeah, I mean, you're going to need those picks. If you're drafting a corner and you want them to play anytime soon, like, you're probably going to have to take 2 or 3 swings at it if you're drafting 4th rounders. And so that gives them a draft class. That otherwise you're trading up for a quarterback and you're getting nothing else. This team isn't a quarterback away. It isn't a one thing away. That's what teams that's when teams should be aggressive in terms of making moves where you're taking away from the future to add to now. That's what the Colts did. The Colts think they're a corner away. I think they're wrong. I think they're going to find out that was dumb, but we'll see. But there's no reason for a team in the Steelers position where they're clearly multiple pieces away. Like they need a corner. Slay's not even a short-term answer. It doesn't seem like, certainly not a long-term one. They have nobody outside of Metcalf. Okay, they have a 31-year-old guard who's in the last year of his contract and probably not coming back. Like, that's 4, and then quarterback. That's 4 gigantic pieces. I mean, wide receiver and corner, besides quarterback and left tackle and D tackle, those are the most important positions on the team. Edge, so that could very easily be 3 more first rounds worth of building. They haven't even really attempted to touch the skill position groups yet. So, yeah, I mean, they need these picks. They weren't going to trade was the equivalent of a 3rd round pick or multiple day 2 picks for a rental wide receiver who is honestly not that. I mean, neither of those guys are big upgrades over Calvin Austin. They're upgrades over the other guys if they want to play 3 receivers, which they have not very much, or if something were to happen to DK Metcalf, certainly. But that's a big price to pay in terms of what they have and what they were getting. They did want an upgrade. I think they wanted something like trade a 4th, get a 5th back, not trade a 4th and a 5th. That's a pretty big difference in value. And so they passed, and they're going to use those picks to probably go up and get a quarterback. And if there's no quarterback available, then we'll see. Maybe they'll have to bail some of those picks into 2027. But I don't foresee that being an issue. There are a lot of quarterbacks there. I think they'll be able to get one. And it's even a deep class beyond the first round if they need to go down that road as well. But I would be very surprised if you don't see them combining multiple versions of these picks for some kind of trade up to go get a quarterback. It's what they've been intending for quite some time, and I don't see anything stopping them from doing that. I know people are freaking out about some teams having more than one first-round draft pick. It doesn't matter. The Browns and the Jaguars the Browns and the Jets were going to finish ahead of the Steelers in the draft class anyway. Them having 2 picks is completely irrelevant. And the Cowboys certainly aren't going to take a quarterback. Maybe they'll need to get ahead of the Rams, but the Rams don't pick that highly. And it's not about how many you have. It's about how many, it's not like it's a bidding war. It's just meet the price of one team ahead of them, and then you're good to go. Now, maybe they try to get higher. Those things don't usually happen. And the Rams have been getting pretty good quarterback play out of Matt Stafford. I think they would love to draft a replacement, but I don't see them, again, thinking they're a one-position team that they need to trade multiple picks to go up to get one. I think they would probably feel very comfortable, drafting a Drew Aller or a John Mateer and saying, hey, maybe we can make this guy into something. That seems much more their vibe. So, yeah, I don't think you should be worried about it. I don't think they're worried about it. And I think they have a plan for those draft picks. All right, that's it for this morning. We'll talk about, I don't know, the football team and the game this week, which is a huge one. A little more this afternoon, me and Smitty on Afternoon Drive. Until then, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.